Well, I'm here with some breaking news, and this time it's all over the place. Tesla has made some pretty significant changes. We're talking price changes, we're talking incentive changes, we're talking changes to some options. There's a lot going on here, but it's very clear that Tesla is attacking Q3 sales right from the start. There's a lot over here to look at. We're going to talk about all of it. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's just straight up confusing, but Tesla's clearly focused on moving as much inventory this quarter as possible. And there's some interesting new strategies that they seem to be pulling on right now. So with that, let's head over to the computer. Let's take a look because there's quite a bit here to unpack. But before we go into that, I do want to thank today's video sponsor, Magback. Keeping your Tesla looking great doesn't just start and stop with keeping the paint protected. It also needs to have a focus on protecting the wheels. Tesla offers some very nice wheel options for upgrade, but it doesn't solve the biggest problem, which is that the tires themselves are about as narrow as they possibly can be to fit these wheels. And of course, that's for efficiency purposes, but this means that the wheels can actually be farther out than the tire itself, which is why curb rash is so common on Teslas. If you are like the many curb rash Teslas out there, there is an easy DIY fix for this that will cover the curb rash, but it'll also protect the wheels from further damage. Rim Case from Magback is an ingenious solution to not only protect your wheels from curb rash, but also blend in so that they're nearly invisible. So whether you have the 20-inch induction wheels on your Model Y or the Uber turbines on your Model 3 or Model Y, Magback has you covered with Rim Case. Make sure to visit Magback's website to get your rim case with 15% off using code BTG15. All right, so here we are over at Tesla's website, and I'm going to start with the Model 3 because we do have one change here. It is not for all models, but I do want to show you something. It's good news, bad news. But first, let's get rid of this gas savings because we all know that's just, I don't know why they continue to do this. Anyways, okay, $7,500 tax credit. So here we are at the performance all-wheel drive. If I turn this off, $54,990, meaning you cannot add any options to the performance Model 3 and still qualify for the tax credit. However, you have been able to have white or black interior for quite some time now. The problem is you can't get any color on the exterior, at least until today, but there is a caveat. So as you can see, it does charge you for these paint colors as it sits right now. However, if you agree to pay $8,000 for full self-driving, they will allow you to get any exterior color you want, including ultra red. So that way, it still qualifies for the tax credit. So basically, if you agree to pay $8,000 for full self-driving instead of subscribing to it later or just not getting it at all, they'll give you $1,000 or a $2,000 paint color for free. How generous of Tesla. To be quite honestly though, if you were already going to get full self-driving anyways, or you were thinking strongly about getting it, this is a nice way to get the performance with a different color as long as you get full self-driving with still retaining that tax credit. So basically you've got to stick with the stealth gray and get $47,490, or if you add full self-driving, it'll also include a paint color, essentially is a way to think about it. So we're going to add $8,000 to this, but they'll also allow you to get up to $2,000 in paint color included. Now, the Model 3 is not the only one that's sitting in that boat, but we'll get back to that in a moment. Down here on the Model Y, you can see 1.99 APR ending August 31st. Now, this is kind of a big deal. They had an interest rate offer not that long ago. It was the end of Q1, and it was very successful based on how this seemed to turn out. And if we change our gas savings and take a look at this, we are at $37,490 for the long range all-wheel drive after that tax credit. Of course, $44,990 before, so $37,490. And this is where things are pretty interesting. So this interest rate offer with $4,000 down, 1.99, they'll also offer it for 72 months. Now, once you go to 84, it goes up to 399, which is still a incentive interest rate available, which is really good. So 72 months, probably the most common, 1.99%. That is compared to 6.29 if you didn't have this interest rate offer. So it goes from 606 a month to 521 a month. It's almost $100 savings by having this new interest rate. This is actually a really good deal because interest rates are just through the roof, and we're only going to see a slow drop in interest rates, it seems, at this point. So that interest rate is going to be awfully popular. So that is a $4,000 down, 1.99 for up to 72 months. That's a really good offer and something to really think about. Also, while we're here, for an additional $45, you can go with the long range all-wheel drive, which will add some additional features like fog lights, the full premium interior, so your stereo will be a little bit better. But generally speaking, you probably won't necessarily notice all the differences between the premium and non-premium interior features. But the big thing is the availability of the 7-seat interior, which is $2,000 option. So if you want that 7-seat, you can only get it in the long range all-wheel drive. Now, to get this interest rate, this is a very important call out. You have to order it by August 31st and take delivery by September 30th. So those are two different dates, and that's important because if you order a custom configuration, you still have to take delivery before September 30th to retain that interest rate. So very important call out there on the Model Y. But the news doesn't stop there. Coming down to the Model S, we'll come back to the Model X in a moment, but for the Model S, pretty simple update here. $2,000 price change. Everything went up $2,000. We're back to about 75 grand for the all-wheel drive, and the Plaid is back to about $90,000. So $2,000 update in price for both the Plaid and the all-wheel drive. Now this is where things get really interesting. So starting here, we have a price change. We're up $2,000. We're back to $79,990 for the all-wheel drive and $94,990 for the Plaid. So this is important because even though it did go up, we're still just under that tax credit threshold, meaning if you get a base model, you can retain that tax credit. Now, if you add any paint, if you add any option of any kind, it goes away because you're going to go over the threshold. You only have $10 to work with, so that isn't a problem. But the issue is this. So $6,500 for the 6-seat interior. Even if you wanted the yoke, $1,000, you'd go over the limit. But if we go back to 5-seat, we make everything base, we're at $79,990, and we are indeed tax credit eligible. But just like the Model 3, if we add full self-driving, you still cannot add a color like you can in the Model 3, but what you can add is any configuration for seating, meaning you can get a 6-seat, which is normally a $6,500 option. You can get that included now if you get full self-driving with the Model X. This is a big deal because you could not get a 6-seat Model X in tax credit qualification ever. That has not been possible to date. That is now possible if you spend $8,000 and get full self-driving. So basically what this does is it gives you the opportunity to get a 6-seat for $1,500 basically off of the base price because you're paying 8 grand here instead of 6,500, but you're getting $7,500 back. And that means you're sitting in a pretty good spot, $80,490. It's $500 more than it is in its base configuration before tax credit to get this now because you still qualify for that tax credit. Now, for Model X buyers, do be aware this tax credit is able to be transferred to the dealer, but your qualification is based on income. So if you exceed the income caps, this will be taken back at time of filing your taxes. For everybody else, you don't have to worry about tax liability if you transfer this to Tesla. But for Model X buyers, your income might start becoming an issue. So take a good look. $300,000 for joint filers, $150,000 for individuals, and this is based on adjusted gross income. So make sure you pay close attention to that so that your qualification doesn't become a problem. So that's the update for today. These are some pretty good updates. If you're in the market for a Model Y, it's a really good time to buy one. Previously, there were some awesome lease deals. Those have not come back, but the interest rate on a Model Y is really, really good. This will actually save you a significant amount of money if you're in the market to purchase a Model Y. You should probably seriously consider if purchasing is the way to go for you. Coming in right around 520 bucks for the long range rear wheel drive is a really good deal, and another 45 bucks for the long range all wheel drive. So seriously good offers there on the Model Y. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? Are you maybe going to pull the trigger on this? Do you feel like you missed out on Q1 deals? This is the best deal I've seen since Q1 at least. And I think that this is a good indication of how this quarter is going to go. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I can't wait to catch you on the next one.